Welcome back to my 100-day Trusting God experiment. It's day 36, and I had my best friend share something with me that caused me to just go silent and really think deeply about what she shared. And it was one of the most helpful conversations I've had in a long time. Honest, real, raw. We met for coffee, and about 8 a.m. I haven't seen her since around October, end of October. But if you're just joining me for the first time, I have been really seeking God to navigate a shift in my life, and through prayer and worship and reading scripture and just seeking Him to guide me for how to successfully navigate a big shift in my life, in my personal life, in my relationships, in my business. I even closed down my business after 9 years just to get still and seek God. And so my friend met with me for coffee this morning at 8 a.m. And as I was meeting her, we were having coffee. She said, well, fill me in on how you're doing. How are things going? And I said, things are getting better. I've made some significant progress. I'm really had some big breakthroughs. I said, as you know, I'm on this journey of inner transformation and inner healing. And I said, I'm really learning a lot. And she said, I told her that I had hired a couple of coaches, and one specific life coach was a therapist, but also a life coach. And I said, I have a intercessory prayer session with her on Friday, which is tomorrow. And she said, well, have you gained any insights or had any discoveries around this yet? I go, yeah, I have. I've been experiencing some. I hadn't told her what they were at all. And she said, well, I have an observation that I think could be the issue or the underlying thing. She said, if you're open to it. And I said, yes, of course. Whatever you want to share, I'm totally open. And she said, I have known you for many years now. Like, we've been pretty much best friends since 2003. So it's been she knows me pretty well. And she said, I believe at the heart of the matter of what's really going on and what I've seen in you is that you have a hard time with having authentic connections with people around you. And I just took a breath. And I listened. And she shared with me she's observed that in me and never really wanted to bring it up or talk about it. She said, I didn't want you to feel like I was, pointing something out. She didn't want to hurt my feelings, obviously. And she certainly didn't want to make me feel bad in any way. And I said, look, I'm at a place in my life where I need honest feedback. Genuine, sincere, from a place of love. That's what I'm looking for right now. And I thanked her so much for sharing that, because I went in deeper to share with her. That's exactly what the conclusion that I've come to is having authentic connections with people. And I've been talking about this in other videos. If you've missed some of those, I've had challenges in my relationships and feeling disconnected in some of my relationships. And I don't know what's at the root of this. I have a feeling if I traced it all the way back to the root cause, I believe it would go back to a trauma, a deeply wounding experience that I experienced from age 16 years old to age 25 years old. And I believe it could be traced back to that. But I also believe it could be traced back to when I was in my childhood, when I was growing up. My mom at times was very disconnected and very numb. And she was going through the most motions. She had a lot of kids. Like, we came from we had a big family, like 6 kids, and she was dealing with her own stuff. I mean, she was going through her own pain and at the time, so I don't blame her or anything like that. I love my mom. She was only doing the best she knew at the time. And I remember hearing another coach, I believe it might have been Ion Van Zant years ago, she said, you do what you saw. We do what we saw. And it's usually subconscious. We repeat the same behaviors and patterns that we saw that feel familiar to us. And it's often subconscious, so you're not even aware that you're doing it until something happens where you're forced to see it and deal with it and then heal it. So at this point, that's my best guess. If this is on some kind of subconscious level that I need to heal that within myself, I am so ready for this. I am so ready. And I think that's what the Lord was showing me, back June 16th to 2021, he showed me this open vision and showed me how in one video that I was almost performing, and I was showing up with projecting a certain persona of myself to try to be who I think I should be with the audience, and it was like creating an invisible barrier between me and the audience. And then he showed me another video where the invisible barrier was completely gone, and I was showing up as my truest, authentic self in that video. And I could see a stark difference between both presentations. And I knew exactly what he was showing me. And now that my best friend shared this with me, I think part of what has been going on is holding back from a truly authentic connection. And it really is a mechanism to try and keep me safe from being hurt or from feeling vulnerable, or maybe even a fear of intimacy on some level. And intimacy is what is what I mean by that. And I can't believe I'm even sharing this publicly. But I'm ready to heal this part of me. I'm ready to move on from that. That is not who I really am at the core. And I know I have moments where I feel authentic. I feel like my real self. But she said, my best friend said, I've seen, some of your posts are kind of coming through each day, and I see that. I just haven't engaged with some of your stuff. She said, I see it, but it just doesn't feel authentic, so I'm not engaging with it. She goes, because I know you. And I was like, okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. I walked away from our conversation feeling so loved. My best friend loved me enough to be able to share an observation with me that was probably hard for her to even share because she was afraid she might hurt my feelings or make me upset or something. But I knew that she did it from love, that she shared it with love, and I could feel that from her. She's one of the most unfiltered, most authentic people I have ever met. Now I know why God put her in my life, right? Oh my gosh. Who knew? Who knew I'd be going through this at this stage in my life, right? Thank goodness I'm waking up to this and becoming aware, self-aware now before I waste any more time. And so I shared with her, I said, I hired a life coach who's also a certified therapist and specializes in family and marriage counseling and therapy. And I believe she's going to be able to help me. I just knew it. The Holy Spirit guided me to her. And I believe I'm going to get to the heart of this and transform who I'm becoming, who I'm being in the world. And that was the big insight in the last 24 hours that happened today. I think sometimes the people that are closest to us, our best friend, our mom, a family member, those that genuinely love you and care about you, unconditionally. I believe that they have an ability to see our blind spots or see things that we easily miss or overlook about ourselves. They may not be comfortable sharing it, or maybe they are. Some are very direct. But I think they can sometimes provide insights. I didn't meet with her thinking that I was going to ask her for insights this morning anyway. But what was great is she asked me if I was open to it. And I absolutely was. We went through, I've got this thing here. We went through this like transformational course, this 2-week-long program years ago, she and I together back in 2008, called Beyond Your Best. And she said, "What was your contract? Do you remember?" And I said, "Yes, I remember." And she said, "That is calling you. This is part of your transformation." And so I went and found the contract that I made. It was a statement of who I choose to be and how I choose to show up in the world. And mine says, "I am a trusting, committed, powerful woman." Wow. I haven't even read this in probably a decade. When we have a hard time letting our guard down and letting people in to truly see us, and be vulnerable and feel exposed and just create an authentic human connection, oftentimes part of it is a fear of not being able to trust, which my contract says I am trusting. So I think this is pointing to learning to fully trust and let my guard down and let people in to see more of who I really am. Whether it's in person, on anything I share on video, in a conversation, and even in my closest relationships. Like I've seen this showing up even with my husband and my daughter, and I'm like, Lord, why is this happening? Because it's eroding the close, loving connection that I so desperately crave. And I think part of it goes back to trauma that has never been dealt with. I was too busy, so I just swept it under the rug. But now it's kind of come to a head where something must change or else. But I believe a part of this is trusting, because I think that's a piece of it. Trusting no matter what. And I know that we don't be vulnerable and open up to just anybody. I get that. You don't just spill the beans on your whole life and all your dark secrets, especially publicly. But any interaction, I'm ready to really have those more authentic connections and just really open up more. Open up more. So stay tuned. I'm going to be working with a person closely to get to the heart of this matter, and I'm going to be sharing what my findings are. And I hope that it'll be a blessing for others that watch this. That's all I have today, and I'll see you soon. See you tomorrow. Bye.